In this lesson, we will work on a practical example of round trip between DaVinci Resolve and Sony Vegas Pro. As before, we'll be working with edited content, in other words, with a timeline completed in our nonlinear editor. We are in Sony Vegas Pro, where we have finalized editing our sample project. Our project resolution is set to HD 1080 and we're using 25 frames per second. We made two image adjustments when editing, so we will keep an eye on how these changes are transferred into DaVinci Resolve. We have flipped this shot horizontally, using the horizontal flip effect. And in this one we used 115% zoom, making the image slightly larger. Let's move on to the first step of round trip and continue by exporting the edit list. In Vegas Pro, we can choose from a number of options. As we see in the menu, the DaVinci application is already listed in the XML format, and so it's the one we will use. From the main menu, we select File, Export, and choose DaVinci Resolve XML. We can also choose whether or not we'd like to copy the source files, and save the XML in a preferred folder. As has been noted, to check the transfer, we use a reference video. We therefore export a video preview from the nonlinear editor. Lower quality will suffice. In the main menu, we select File and click Render As. I'll choose the QuickTime preset, for instance, with an H.264 codec. We can use any format that DaVinci can read, of course. The reference video can be stored anywhere, but for easy orientation, I am placing it into the folder that contains the edit list. And the export from Vegas Pro is finished, and we can switch to DaVinci Resolve. In DaVinci Resolve, we open the Edit panel. Call up the menu in the Timeline window with a right-click and select the XML edit list import. Check the preset parameters. Since a timeline of identical parameters, that is in HD 1080 with 25 frames per second, is preset in our DaVinci Resolve settings, we can leave the automatic timeline setting unchecked. Though, let's check the automatic import of video files into the media pool, which saves time we'd otherwise spend doing the import manually. We also want the image sizing information to be transferred into the timeline. After confirmation, the application notifies us that our source clips have not been found and asks us to select the appropriate folder. Thereafter, a timeline identical to the one in Vegas Pro is created in the Edit panel. So let's make sure that all has been transferred properly from Vegas Pro. Therefore, we'll use our reference video, which we first import in the media pool. It's crucial though to import the reference video properly, since reference videos are not imported the same way as source material. Already when importing, it must be checked in the menu as offline reference. In the bottom corner, a small label is then attached to the reference video, which denotes all our reference videos in the media pool. After returning to the timeline, we call up the menu with a right-click and link the reference video to our timeline. As we can see, the DaVinci timeline, which we had obtained from the XML list, can be viewed in the right window. Switching the button, our reference video is displayed in the left window. However, Instead of the reference video, we only see a blank display. The most frequent issue here is an incorrect reference video timecode. Our timeline starts at 1 hour. Let's check the reference video timecode. Switch to the media pool, locate the reference video, and display its attributes. As we can see, it starts at 0 hour. It is therefore out of sync with the timeline. Let's change the timecode to 1 hour as well. The reference video is now synced and then displayed on the left. Comparing the left and the right windows, we can evaluate differences between the Vegas Pro and the DaVinci timelines. The first two clips have transferred correctly. In the third one, the horizontal flip effect has not transferred properly. Next parts look fine. The 115% zoom has also been transferred correctly. So let's fix the issue we have found. A shot can be flipped horizontally in one of two ways. We can either go to the media pool, locate the shot and select horizontal flip from the attributes. Now let's first undo the step. And the other option is the color panel. The horizontal and vertical image flip button is located in the sizing window. This resolves the issue, and the DaVinci timeline is identical to the reference video, that is to our edit in Vegas Pro. And we are now ready to begin with color corrections, in other words, with grading using the color panel. I will skip this part here and move ahead to the point when our grading is completed and we're ready to transfer our work back to Vegas Pro. Let's move to the delivery panel. Sony Vegas works with XML lists formatted for Final Cut Pro. We therefore use this round-trip preset. As video format, we select, for example, 10-bit uncompressed QuickTime. Since we're not using the audio, it can stay unchecked. Next, we select a storage folder for our data. So, what does this type of round-trip preset do? It exports the graded files as well as the XML edit list into the selected folder. We select the entire timeline and start the render. This completes our work in DaVinci Resolve, and we can switch back to our nonlinear editor, Sony Vegas Pro. Here we select Import from the main menu and choose Final Cut Pro DaVinci Resolve XML. Now we locate the XML list we had exported from DaVinci Resolve. After confirmation, Vegas Pro asks us to select the initial video file. The rest of the files are loaded automatically, and the timeline containing our graded shots is displayed. This concludes round trip between Sony Vegas Pro and DaVinci Resolve.